Today seems like a great day to dive in. So let's do that. I have a question for y'all. Are you the type of person that if somebody new appears in your group that you don't really know, are you welcoming or are you like, I gotta be cautious because I don't really know them? Or are you like, hey, hi, nice to meet you? Because, in order for them to be in the group or have made it to the destination to where you was with somebody else, somebody had to bring them. So obviously somebody had to have trust them, somewhat enough to bring them around, right? Are you the type of person, if you meet somebody, you're skeptical right away? Because I know the world is crazy. So it would be, wise of you to be skeptical of everybody, but how do you come across? Are you rude? Does your tone say, like, let's not do that, like, let's not be friendly? Or is it just a, hey, nice to meet you? When you're out in the store, when somebody waves at you and say hi, do you wave and say hi back, or do you look, upside their head? Like, which one are you? Which one do you hope that you were? If you're the opposite, which one do you wish that you was that way? And if you are that way, do you wish that you was the opposite? Like, which one is it? Because, my kids are getting ready to start back to school, and just getting them ready, I try to talk to them about different things. I try to tell them, don't bully nobody, but don't let nobody bully you. If you see somebody, that doesn't have any friends, you see somebody who looks like they're afraid to talk, go up, say, hey, say hi. Even if they don't speak back, that you did your part. Somebody should look at you and be able to tell he's a Christian. Somebody should be able to look at you and tell he follows God. He believes in God. Somebody should look at you and, be able to tell that you're a great person, that you're a gracious person. When they speak of you, do they speak highly of you? Do they say positive things about you? Do they say how compassionate you are, how loving you are, how you always got a smile on your face? Or is it something different? So as I was looking for scripture to try to find different things to tell them when school get ready to start, because it's already enough with the pressure that comes with being a kid, right? And I'm not just talking about kids. I'm talking about us too. It's a lot of pressure when it comes to us. If we're starting, say we're starting school, we could be starting school. I was about to say starting a new job, but some people are starting school as adults. You didn't get to finish, or something got in your way and you didn't get to finish, or you're still in it. You just been going and going. But even so, like, there's new obstacles, there's new people, there's new things that comes about every school year, really every day. And you just have to be able to know who you are and what you stand for in the midst of all those things. Because if you don't, then it's kind of hard to figure out where where you stand. And I always tell them, I play with them and I joke and I say, well, we leaders in this house, we ain't following behind nobody. And they think that it's funny and they think that it's a joke. But I also have to tell them that I'm serious. You have to know who you are. You have to believe in who God called you to be. And I know y'all like, they little kids, they probably not really listening. I mean, I have kids at different stages of their life. I wish that, even if it went in one ear and out the other, I can remember my parents telling me, these type of things, because that's important. My mom did stress to me to be my own person and to not follow behind nobody else, and to know who I am. Those things she did stress to me. But different conversations goes for different kids. One thing I can tell my daughter, I can't tell my son. Like, everybody has their own personalities, right? So I have to dial back who I am to fit where they are, if that makes sense. So I was going through scriptures, looking through my Bible, trying to figure out, what is something that I could use to be able to talk to my kids, to be able to get them ready for school. And honestly, what is something that can benefit, not only my kids, but me? Because again, it comes challenges that come from them. It starts to affect me. And I didn't really get this, when you have kids and they say, once you have kids, your life, it never changes. But I've noticed something, like when my kids go through stuff, like I be feeling the emotions. And sometimes I feel like I feel the emotions more than them. Like I feel like I be overdoing it and they be like, nah, because I feel like they're kids and they don't really see the things that we see. So I feel like it affects me more because I know what's up. And you don't really know what's up, or you're not trying to see what's up because you don't want it to affect your mood. And that is a good thing. That is a good place to be in life. But it also can be a tricky thing, because you also want to know when it's okay to move, when it's okay to stand still, when it's okay to talk, when it's okay not to talk. Like, you have to know all those things. And again, they're growing and they're learning. So with that, they probably be looking at me like, lady, like, what are you even talking about? But I don't care, because I said what I said, and I needed you to hear what I said. Just so you can know. Well, my mom did tell me that. When it come back up, my mom did tell me that, right? One of the verses I was reading and I came across was Colossians, right? In Colossians 4, verse 5-6, it says, "Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversations be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone." And you know what? As I read that, I was like, that's a nice way to put it. Because when we're eating food, what is one thing that we will say if we taste something and it's bland? What will we say? You got some salt? Maybe some pepper, but we automatically ask them for the salt because the salt just adds a little bit of to it, So in the Bible, when it says make sure that it's with grace and seasoned with salt, a lot of the times we don't show our kids how to be graceful and how to have conversation seasoned with salt. And even when we was kids, we saw people talking about other people. We were in a group and somebody might have been saying something about somebody else, and we didn't make the conversation any better. We just kind of stood there and let it happen because, that's what they doing. But at the end of the day, if something is happening around you, and you can speak up and you can say something positive or something graceful and you can season it with a little bit of salt, like, oh yeah, because I heard such and such, this and this and that. So, it's up to God to be able to work out that situation and say a quick little prayer and say, you know what, we should just pray for them. Something, it could just be anything, but instead of seasoning our conversations with salt sometimes we add fuel to the fire. Sometimes we leave the towel on the stove and then we wonder why it catch on fire, because we sit around and we let things happen and we sit around and we don't try to be any different. We just try to follow behind, what's going on. And we have to know that how we speak and how we come across affects people around us, whether it's at our job, whether it's at home, in our families, friends, anything. We have to be able to know. And when people see us and the way that we come across and the way that we talk should scream, they follow Jesus, should scream, they're not perfect and they don't ever try to make themselves out to be. So when I was younger, growing up, like, what is this, middle school age, I would see people, that I was cool with, that I would talk to. I would see them talk about other people, right? I would see them talk about other people. Then other people walk up and they, hey girl, how did it? And I'm thinking in my head, girl, you just got finished saying something about them. Like, no. And when stuff like that used to happen, like I used to walk away or I used to say something to the person like, well, you was just talking about them. Like, so why we being fake? Y'all bear with me. The growth is real because our show was the person that was going to say something. And, in that sometimes God had to check me like, not your place, pray about it, keep moving. So I was the type of kid who I would sit by myself at lunch. Cause what we not gonna do? Like, I'm not about to sit around and play pretend with y'all. Cause I know if y'all talking about them, y'all talking about me. But every person doesn't have that will. Every person doesn't have the need to, in their mindsets, they feel like they're not strong enough to do that. Like they need, people around. Even if they're talking about them, somebody is better than nobody. And let me tell you something. Somebody is not better than nobody. Nobody is better than nobody. And the faster that we understand that, the more we'll understand how much we're worth. How good enough we are. I'm saying that to say this. We have to check ourselves with how we come across. We have to check ourselves with things that we say, with gossip we keep up, with things that we could shut down that we don't, to things that we go along with just because it makes our life easier. We have to check ourselves and know that we're supposed to be walking by grace. When we walk by, people are supposed to say, that girl, yes, she worships God. And y'all, I used to think that was crazy. When people walk by, they're supposed to know that you're a follower of Jesus. And I used to think it was crazy, y'all, because when I would hear that in church, I'm like, how are people supposed to know just by seeing me? But one day I was taking my kids to this water park and this lady walked straight up to me and said, what church you go to? Like she just knew. I wasn't doing anything specific in that time. I have been taking the time to get to know God, to get to know myself as I'm talking to y'all in this podcast, because I don't dare want to be that type of person that's telling y'all this and telling y'all that and then doing this and doing that. Like, it's not my job to sway y'all either way. It's my job to be a servant of God, and I do what he tell me to do. At the end of the day, that's what I'm focused on. Whoever this podcast reaches, who it reaches, whoever it don't, it won't. But if it's meant to reach you, God will make sure that it reaches you. And if it don't reach you, maybe you're not ready for it yet. And all that is fine. At the end of the day, I serve him. And when we realize that that's what life is about, when we realize that the grace and love we show makes us better people, makes our lives so much better, makes how we react, how we come across, how we move past things, how we move on from things, how we don't magnify things we see and make them this bigger thing. Because I'm not saying that they're not big, and I'm not minimizing how y'all feel, because if anybody feel feelings, baby, it is me. But you can't live off your feelings. You cannot let your feelings dictate how you move. Because if you did every time, it might end in a different situation. But if you allow yourself to feel what you feel and then go to God and say, God, I need your help. With helping me feel these feelings in the best way, would help me expressing them in the way that you see fit for me to express them, not in the way that I want to express them, because everything in me right now is telling me to blow up. But I know that's not good. I know that's not good. I know that that's not for me. I thought that was something that, should be said about our conversations and how we talk. And also what I found in Colossians in chapter 3, starting at 12, it says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe themselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. If we allow the grace of God, the compassion of God, the love of God, if we allow how God is to come across and how we speak about each other, about outsiders, about people that we feel like, no, if we allow who God is to work through us and be who he called us to be, while being cautious, of course, while understanding who somebody is, while seeing who they are, of course, while protecting ourselves, but also by just allowing God to do what he does, our lives and how we come across and in different ways that we move will be so much better. All we have to do is pay attention to us, because we could say all day what somebody else is doing, but what are you doing? How could you be better? How could you have changed what you said? Your tone was a little up here. Maybe next time, bring it just down a little bit. Y'all, when I'm talking to y'all on these podcasts, I be talking to myself. And y'all just be on the other side. Y'all be listening. And I be thinking, you know what? They probably feel like this too. Like at some point, somebody, at least one person in this field, where I'm coming from. I am who I am, but I'm trying to be a better me. I'm trying to be a better version of who I was, because I know that I'm moving forward in the right direction, but I want to keep doing that. And in that comes these talks with y'all and helping y'all understand how y'all could be better versions of yourselves as well. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this podcast. For people who have children, I hope that your kids have a great and prosperous and blessed school year. I love you. I'll be back.